In episode 48, iPiffle on Pascal's wager. Blaise Pascal, a 17th century French philosopher, mathematician, and physicist, developed a theory that has become known as Pascal's wager. He theorized that humans all bet with their lives whether God exists or not. He maintained that if a person chooses to live his life believing in the existence of God, and it turns out that God really does exist, then the possible rewards would be eternal. By the same token, if a person lives his life in service to God's commandments, and it turns out that there is no God, then the loss is only limited to the length of his life and is therefore finite. A person can only choose to do one or the other. He can either choose to live his life as if God exists, or he can turn away from God. From the time a person is born into this world and can make choices for himself, participation is not optional. Man must choose to live his life in one of these two ways. As a result, Pascal believed that we are all wagering with our lives what might become of our immortal souls for the rest of eternity. Pascal begins with the premise that both the existence and non-existence of God is impossible for humans to know or prove. So the only thing we can do is to weigh what potentially could be gained or lost in believing or not believing in the existence of God. How we each decide is the most important choice we will ever make in our lives. We have only these two options to stake our eternities on. Pascal considers that even if the existence of God is equally as risky as would be a simple coin toss, then human reason is not equipped to address the question of whether God exists or not. That being the case, then human reason can only address this question of God's existence according to the two possibilities that could ultimately determine one's fate once the choice has been made. Any prudent person, after weighing the possible gain and loss inherent in the decision, it would be extremely reckless and foolish to bet against the existence of God and risk an eternity spent in hell. The only wise decision is to wager your life on the existence of God, because by doing so, you could gain eternal happiness. If it turns out that there is no God, you will basically lose nothing, because your existence will end with the death, and you will also be no worse off if you had not lived your life believing in God. If, on the other hand, you bet against God, win or lose, you either gain nothing at the time of your death, or you will have given up the opportunity to enjoy eternal happiness. This is precisely the reason why organized religion flourishes. Millions of people the world over are unwilling to bet against God or their religious faith. The stakes are much too high, and eternity is a very difficult concept to put at risk. We all want to believe in an afterlife, and organized religion gives us that hope we all desperately need to cling to. So decent people turn to religion and give their lives over to the dictates of their clergy. Unfortunately, these religious leaders are very often demagogues, and their motives are not always righteous. Spirituality and faith should come from within a person's heart. We should not be intimidated nor frightened by organized religion to the point that we turn to other outside entities for a guarantee of our salvation. I would take Pascal's wager a step further and say that whether you are affiliated with an organized religion or not, or if you believe or do not believe in the existence of God, we are all betting our eternities on how we choose to live our lives while alive on this earth. For those of us who know right from wrong, when we make bad choices in our lives, then we are wagering on whether there will come for us a day of reckoning, so to speak. You do not need to believe in a God or subjugate yourself to any organized religion to live a morally sound life. Religion aside, a person can either live his life making moral or amoral decisions. Even taking God and religion out of your calculus, if there is, in fact, an existence after death, and you live a decent life, then the rewards may prove boundless. However, if you live an unconscionable existence, then the punishment may be severe, and rightfully so. Even if the possibility exists that there is no day of reckoning following the termination of our lives, only a fool would bet against such a morally justifiable and righteous outcome. Thank you for listening. I hope you will join me in my next video.